Three. Good afternoon. I want to welcome everybody to another session of Coffee with Cleo. And here's the opportunity with this platform where we interview some of the most interesting business owners, professionals across the world. And today I'm delighted to introduce to you another business owner, and her name is Ricki King. Ricki King is the owner of Branches Genealogy. This is a genealogy business, and we really want to get a good understanding of why she started this business, some of the challenges of running a business, but more importantly, I'm just interested in genealogy. So how are you doing today, Ricki?
I'm doing good.
Good.
How are you?
Well, Ricki, first of all, just tell us where your business is located and how long you've been in business as an entrepreneur.
Roots of Branches has been in business just going on 4 years, but I've been doing research prior to that. And sorry, what was the other? Oh, I'm in Iowa, but I do research outside Iowa. I like to say I do all ethnicities as long as they speak English. I can help you.
Fantastic. Well, I know that genealogy has exploded in the past years. And any thoughts on that? I know you see things out there with, of course, 23andMe and all these other particular businesses that are looking to give people an opportunity to connect with their roots and their history. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think the DNA really has kicked it up a notch. When I started early 2000s, it was getting busy, but with the DNA coming out, it is really busy. And I think the pandemic even has kicked it up even more because they're stuck at home with their families, they're talking more. So they're like, what about grandma and grandpa? What stories can you tell me? So they're sharing those stories and wanting to learn more about it.
You know, I wrote a book.
It's a good thing.
Well, I love what you said about stories. I think stories really are the bridge that basically brings history, lessons, insights across generations. And my book, Coffee with Cleo, tries to do that. And I'm the big fan of genealogy. In fact, I just want to ask you, for someone who has started a business, what really drove you to say one day, I want to start my own business, but I really wanted to be involved in researching the backgrounds and the histories of people that would like to know more about themselves?
It started because now people know I met you through our previous employers.
Right. By the way, full disclosure, Ricki and I have known each other. We worked at John Deere Financial together for a long time. I think the world of her. So full disclosure, we're friends, and I'm just amazingly interested in her business.
Got me started is I knew I could retire at 50 from John Deere, and I was like, I can't sit at home, I'm too young. And I loved history, and I started getting into genealogy, and I'm like, I could actually help other people do their genealogy. And at the time I wanted to focus on Blacks in Iowa, because as I was working in my genealogy society, I found out or realized Blacks thought they couldn't do it, and they weren't even interested in researching just because they thought they couldn't research.
Right.
So I wanted to start a business to get them more involved and show that you can research. And it's evolved to helping everyone, because Italians think they can't research their family either because their family came from Italy. Well, I can bridge that gap from the US and get them to Italy and then find a genealogist in Italy that can help them. So you work, I want to work just to get people interested in their family history more. And that's what got me thinking about it towards a business aspect.
So you know, what services do you offer? Are there specific services that you offer with your genealogy business? Are there some that you don't offer? What is the scope of your business?
I like to say, you know, most people want to learn about their family history, but they don't know where to begin. And my focus is I've done the training, I do the research, I give you a written report of it. But to get you started in my services, if you're the very basic, you just know where your grandparents came from and that's it. I call that beginning research. I take that information that you could provide and we work out a research question and then work our way back a little bit by question to get more into it. And maybe at this point you're like, oh, I want to research my own family and not have you do it anymore. I give you suggestions to help you get started on your own. But if you've been researching your family, say 10, 15 years, right, and you're stuck, I call that intermediate genealogy research, where I look at your research and give you suggestions on where to go next. Or maybe you're just too close to the subject and I give you, have you looked at this? Different possibilities, just a second set of eyes there. And then I call, like, you gift certificates so you can give it as a gift for a wedding gift. It's great for a wedding gift, especially new brides or babies. They have babies to do their family history that way. And the advance is the same thing. I've done this family history. I've written it all up. Can you see, look at what I've written, what I've done to make sure I didn't get off track, because I've got tunnel vision and I should have went left and I actually went right, and I've lost that focus and didn't realize it. So it's different steps of what I can help you with. And that's what makes it fun, because I get to learn about your family tree,
Right.
and history of Arkansas or Texas or Iowa. But I get to learn history about every little place I get to do research in from home.
Well, I think that's pretty interesting, because, you look at the fact of, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a nonprofit business and I have a for-profit business, and I also advise and support a lot of startups, people that are looking to begin their business in different phases. But my question to you, when you talk about building a business or starting a business, I know when I first started my business, there were challenges and there were opportunities. But for me personally, I always had an entrepreneurship spirit. I always envisioned myself running my own business. What was the spark that said, okay, it's time to do this for you?
Actually, I kind of think I wanted to do it, but I wasn't there. And I had a friend that goes, I heard you talk about doing this or doing that. She's like, why don't you take these classes from Boston University? It's genealogical research, prepares you more to go from a hobbyist to a professional. So it taught me how to research the reports, how to just, instead of I'm going grandma, grandpa on down, I can jump in at third great grandfather and work from that person back or that person forward. But the tough part was, it was a 15-week course and I had to pass to get a certificate. So you are working your butt off
Absolutely.
to actually learn this. So it's not something rinky dink. And once I did that and I passed, and I was, it's not my own family either. I'm also learning on random people.
Yes.
I can do this. Like, this really will work. I can do this.
Right.
So I was happy that way. And I'm like, that was my jumping off point. Other people saw my potential before I saw the potential that I could do this. And I'm like, okay. But I also had a challenge, because other people saw that. I didn't see it myself. I kept doubting myself. I was doing the work, helping people. But in the back of my head, I'm like, is this really good? Am I really right?
Right.
I don't know. But sorry.
You know what? Matter of fact, we should probably. This is the things that I love about our interviews, is that a little business in life and a little life in business. That's okay.
Let me grab my dog.
Yeah. What is your matter of fact? Introduce your dog to everyone.
This is Cardiff. Cardiff, say hi.
Hello. How you doing? Fantastic.
Okay.
Well, Ricki,
caught my sweater.
Ricki, I know in business, I can share many great stories across the world. I've had a chance to work in many different countries, from Japan, Australia, Brazil, France, you name it, Germany. And there's stories that come along with this. And I think your business is around stories that exist, but you uncover for folks. And is there one or two stories that you have uncovered in your business that you can share that are interesting, that you just go, wow, maybe a movie should be written about this?
My friend Yvonne, her family, definitely a movie should be written about it. She originally asked me just to help her get started, to become a genealogist. She told me her family is from Thurber, Texas. And I said, oh, wait, I talked to some guy who did a presentation once that was doing a study on I swear it was a town of Thurber, Texas. Let me talk to him. Turned out to be the same town. So we've gotten together, and now we're actually doing a family reunion for African Americans from Thurber in 2022. So we researched that a little bit. And then she's like, okay, let me research this other side of my family. Lo and behold, I researched her family, get them back to Virginia. This family also came out of Thurber, Texas, intermarried. Got them back to Virginia, and University of Virginia is actually doing a research project on the descendants of slaves that worked at University of Virginia. I've tied her family into, you only need one more document to be definitely sure, but I'm sure in my own head. to one of the professors of the University of Virginia. And I was like, gosh. And then one of the other families, as I said, it's a random person, but all these different connections. She has, one of her relatives was a runaway slave to Iowa.
Oh my God.
Literally stole a horse,
Mhm.
came the town outside of Des Moines, got caught by Stop for Help. The people turned him in. He escaped to Newton, Iowa, and raised his family there. But then, I don't remember if it was him or one of his son-in-laws joined the first Iowa Black military group for Civil War,
Wow.
which later turned into like the first, and it became like the 61st or 62nd. The number changed. But the only known, because of this lady I met, talking to the State Historical Society, the only photo that's ever been found of a Black military Civil War veteran with both the first Black and the next number, on his uniform, he's wearing both pins. So I was like, oh my gosh. So her family is so interesting. So I love researching for her because I always learn so much about Iowa history and Texas and Virginia. I was like, oh, I think her family could be a movie, all four sides. They can make a movie, 4 different movies. Well, my family, it's interesting, but you really don't want to make a movie about it.
I understand. I think families and individuals are like a coin. There's 2 sides to us. And
Yeah.
Unless you're betting or gambling is when you want to flip. And be careful with you going to gamble.
That's always a key. I tell people too, when I research, I'm like, all the stories aren't good.
Right.
Every family member has a criminal in it.
Right.
But you want a criminal because that's where you're gonna find the family history.
Right.
Because their prison records, they have to document, different family members have to document this. So or the newspaper stories gives you family information. So sometimes you might want a little minor criminal just so you can get a little more family history.
Just a little
They
bit
need more paper.
I was going to say just a little bit of larceny and
Yeah.
how much of that is within your lineage